spiritual living. This is Reverend Geagan from the Center for Spiritual Living. This is Reverend Geagan from the Center for Spiritual Living.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. Are you?
It sounds good now. Right now, it sounds good.
Good Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, California. I'm Reverend Lynn Chaplain Noe, and we have a wonderful morning for you. Of course, our spiritual leader, Pamella Geagan, is here, and she's going to have a wonderful discussion with Buzz Noe, my husband. I'm Lynn Chaplain Noe, your practitioner of the day. And Daniel Berkman is our musical inspiration. And of course, there's Marcia Beebe in the back there making all of this happen with Rev Pam. So let's get this party started. Our vision is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And the way we do that is teaching and demonstrating spiritual principles for living an abundant and fulfilling life in a welcoming, compassionate community. And of course, we have our flames of faith. We believe that there is one power and one source, and that there are many paths to that source. By lighting these candles of faith, we honor all religions, Buddhism, Christianity, Sufism, Buddhism, and all others that step forward in love. There's that fine thread that connects all religions, and that thread is love. We are love, we come from love, and we honor our oneness in us all. And now, of course, here's Reverend Pam with our Reverend Betty Ann Brennan's quote for the day.
Thank you, Rev Lynn. And so it is my honor to read Betty Ann's quote, and I'm so grateful that she is still with us in her spirit and her heart, and her words are still so alive. And I don't see the quote, but I know that what she would have been saying is Happy Father's Day to Ralph, and that all is good and very good. Here is the quote. So I see the good in others and myself. I choose to praise and uplift everyone as I express unconditional love. I am showered with love and blessings in return. Thank you, our wonderful Reverend Betty Ann. And now it is my honor to introduce our wonderful Buzz Noe with an opening affirmative prayer. Take it, Buzz.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Pam. And I'm looking at the Facebook page, but I still don't see anything live, so I don't know if we're on, but let's assume that we are, and let's know this. Thank you all for tuning in and being with us. And as I say these words in the first person, please make them your own. For I do know, absolutely, right here and right now, in this very exact moment in the continuing evolution of time and space, there is one source to all that is. One infinite power, one infinite creativity that we refer to as God. There is one God, there is one source, and I am here. So I am one with that source, I am from that source, and connected through that source with everything that is. And through that connection, I know that as I go forth in my life with love as my primary motivation, that takes me from one step to another, that I will stay connected in love with everything that is, with nature, with all of humanity, with all of the living creatures and the plants and everything in the universe. And I know that as I continue to go forth with this singular motivation of love as my main incentive, my life will continue to unfold perfectly, because that will come back to me tenfold, going out into the oneness that is the source and coming back to me internally and externally. So this is the way I choose to go forth in life, and I suggest that we all take that same path. We're going to be talking about this a little bit later, Reverend Pam and myself, about how this comes into play on Father's Day as we celebrate and honor our fathers, and how it comes into play in our lives at all times. So knowing this, I send this forth with kindness, compassion, caring, sharing, and giving to everyone and everything that's in my life that I am connected to. And I do thank God for my awareness of being one with Source and having the creative capability of working as God, as me, through my consciousness to bring this out into the rest of the universe. And it comes back to me. And I do release these words of oneness, love, gratitude, and givingness to that one Source, the infinite Source that is God, to take care of those details while I continue to enjoy my life as I can, where I can, when I can, and bring that same enjoyment of life to everyone with whom I'm connected in this world. And I release these words to the oneness of God with this final statement that we all can say together, and so it is. And so it is. I thank God and thank you all for being here. And I am happy to be here for our Father's Day celebration. Now here's my stepson, Daniel Berkman, with our first musical inspiration.
Thank you so much, Buzz. Happy Father's Day to you. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. This song is sort of a family favorite, song I wrote called Ho'oponopono. 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 I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Ho'oponopono. 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 I love you. I'm sorry.
Danny, thank you. It was such a a technical rough start to our program, and now I'm just relaxed in. Thank you, honey. So much wonderful to be with you. And now
too,
again,
thank you.
thanks, honey. We'll see you in a few seconds here, in a few minutes. And happy Father's Day to you for all the creativity and birth that you bring to this planet musically. So and your spirit. So anyway, and now aw, welcome. So now it's my honor to introduce Buzz one more time again, which we're so happy, our poet laureate with What's the Buzz? Tell us what's happening, Buzz.
Thank you again, Rev Pam. And welcome all of you to this day when we celebrate our dads, whether they were heroes or perhaps even cads. Either way, they assisted in bringing our lives into play. So I'll soon join with Reverend Pam and we'll have more on this to say. For now, here are the announcements for today. Reverend Pam's weekday meditations, which have helped us all get by, are on hiatus until the 5th of July. Come to Facebook on that day to give it a try. In the meantime, let's be confident that we'll all get by. At 7 p.m. Thursdays on Facebook Live, our midweek spiritual uplift will boost your divine drive. This week's session will be led by Reverend Lynn. You'll discover how all of your relationships can win. At 10 a.m. on Sunday, June 27th, which is the fourth Sunday of the month, Lisa Coffey will be here with a class you will want. This month, Swami M will be Lisa's special guest. Their message will allow you to be at your best. So please join in with Lisa prior to the Sunday lesson. Constant Contact has the Zoom info for this session. Some of life's changes have taken their toll on self-mastery emergency of the soul. The Science of Mind class that was scheduled for this summer had to be canceled, which is a bit of a bummer. Other Science of Mind classes will begin after June. We'll currently be creating them and we'll announce them right here soon. Our center will gather live on the 4th of July. It's been more than a year since we gave that a try. We can all celebrate the freedom to gather live once again together on the same date that the USA became free forever. Keep in mind that our center is here for you, so please let us know what we can do. The spiritual treatment that we provide will reveal your perfection and allow you to thrive. You can always leave a request by phone, or you can send us an email from wherever you roam. Next month, we will meet again live. Meanwhile, our center is here to help us all thrive. So please do donate to keep our center going so we can be here to keep your wellness flowing. Later, we will list the online ways to give so you can make your donations from wherever you live. Two other places where you can lend a hand, so please do give them whatever you can. Ventura County Rescue Mission provides the homeless with much good, and Ventura County Food Share feeds the needy in our hood. A reminder that our center is part of Ralph's Community Contribution Program. A portion of whatever you spend at the store gives our center a small donation or more. So please do sign up or simply renew, and Ralph's will contribute at no cost to you. Our center's code number is JE859. You can sign up at the store or you can do it online. Another way to help our center for a while is to shop online using Amazon Smile. When you complete your purchase for the items you got, it donates to our center right on the spot. And finally, here's a true fact, and I'll have to be frank. If you are alive, you have a father to thank. And that's it for the buzz on things at our center. It's time now for my dear wife, Reverend Lynn, to enter. She's here as our practitioner of the day, and I'm very excited to hear what she has to say.
Thank you, Buzz. I'm excited to hear what I have to say too. Before I get started, I want to remind all of you that we are so blessed at our Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley, with brilliant, dedicated practitioners. And our lead practitioner, the one who keeps us all in shape and keeps us unified, is Pamella Bailey. So I invite all of you to go to our website, our Facebook page, and get to know your practitioners. And then on July 4th, when we are all together again at the sanctuary in the flesh, I want you, if you can, just go to all the practitioners, introduce yourselves to them, and thank them for their holding Reverend Pam's vision of our center for all of these long months, 15 months. So thank you, practitioners. I'm a practitioner too. And so today, the Center for Spiritual Living theme was to talk briefly about evolution. I think the title is "What's Evolution Without Love?" There you go. And so John Lewis said, and I know you all remember John Lewis, he said, "Too many of us still believe that our differences define us." And you know, he was a great statesman and a great visionary, and we all loved him so much. But I have to disagree a little bit with him on principle, because my deepest belief is that the day that we truly awaken to the truth that we are all one, and we will have awakened to our own uniqueness, and we will have defined our oneness with each other. So just imagine that the day that we acknowledge that it's our uniqueness and what we're so special, what we bring to the party, each of us individually, is what creates oneness, because we all share the same divine DNA with the one. And doesn't oneness in this light mean that we identify with and we express, or it's what expresses through us in our inner and outer activity in the one God, love, life, universal spirit, infinite intelligence, first cause, the thing itself. When we identify with the fact that that expresses itself through and by means of each one of us, that'll be a happy day. And this oneness creates everything out of itself, and therefore includes both the absolute and the relative, the tangible, the intangible, the physical and the metaphysical, the light and the dark. I think that's important. I think I'm feeling a little shadow work coming in here. Centers for Spiritual Living says, and I'm reading this, we live in a thoughtful and intelligent universe that is always creating. So we are the creation. Our nature is to create. We have been created by a divine intelligence, an incredible intelligence. Our nature is creativity. Dr. Holmes says, we all receive some light, and that light is the same light. There is one nature diffused throughout all nature, God incarnated in all peoples. So there's a time in each of our lives when we can be the light as well as the darkness, and God provides us with both of those seasons to live out. Light and darkness are both God ordained, so we must learn to celebrate, for they show up in each of us. Dr. Holmes says evolution is the awakening of the soul to a recognition of its unity with the whole. I'm going to say that again. Dr. Holmes says evolution is the awakening of the soul to a recognition of its unity with the whole. So we are waking up. Dr. Holmes didn't say that. I said that. We're waking up. So here's your spiritual practice for the week. Something for you after you hear this wonderful discussion with Reverend Pam and Buzz. You'll have so many truths and so many aha moments. And so here's my suggestion for some spiritual practice for you this week. Number one, ask yourself, what is mine to do to embrace my oneness with all life and bring it into everything I do this week? Can you remember that? What is mine to do? And to embrace my oneness and bring it into my life this week. Number two, here's a good one. Reach out. When you see around you the appearance of otherness, which we are inclined to do, look beyond appearance and express how. How, and only you can express how. There is oneness in this. Identify your oneness, If you see otherness, point out oneness. Can you remember that? And number 3, identify with your own uniqueness. So how do you describe yourself? Get familiar with how do you just, who, not what I do for a living, but who am I being? And what do you bring to the party? I said that earlier. Okay, you've got assignments for this week with some wonderful truths. We have a great talk coming up. So let's have a really brief treatment right now to open us up to this wonderful discussion and more music, I hope. So let's close our eyes. Go within and know with absolute certainty that there is one power, one presence, one way of life, one source of all life. And this is God, infinite intelligence, divine intelligence, love, life, oneness, goodness, clarity. And I know that I am the divine individualized expression of this one. Therefore, I step forward in my life this week, bringing my uniqueness to everything that I do. And whenever I see otherness, I will express oneness. And whenever I feel separateness, I will express oneness. And whenever I feel that I have the need to be right, I'll remember that everything is all right. And I'm so grateful for these loving truths of oneness with source and oneness with all life on this wonderful planet and in this universe. So I release these loving truths into the law of mind. I allow divine mind to take care of the details, open my receptivity to this wonderful discussion that's coming up and wonderful music, and always giving thanks. I release these loving truths into the very activity of them right here, right now. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is, as is always my pleasure to introduce my wonderful son. I have 2 wonderful sons, and they had a wonderful dad, John Berkman, and I'm thinking about him today. And I'm thanking Buzz Noe for being a wonderful, wonderful father to my sons. So here's my oldest son, Daniel Berkman, with some beautiful music for us. Take it away, Danny.
Thanks, Mom. That was wonderful. Thank you. Yes, again, happy Father's Day. Buzz actually had some requests, and Ho'oponopono was one, and he mentioned a couple of songs from my album Heartstrings, which is my first Cora album, which it's been on my mind lately. So I'm going to play a song. It's the second track off of my Heartstrings album called Travels. I kind of just called it that randomly. It has this kind of a driving rhythm, which maybe has something like, it's like traveling in a way, but it was something I had written before I ever really traveled. And it's interesting that the Cora itself is what brought me outside the U.S. The first time I was ever in outside the U.S. was going to Africa. So this instrument brought me around the world. So it was a song about an instrument that was to bring me around the world later, which I think is interesting. So it's kind of a prophetic song. Anyway, this song is called Travels.
Wow. First of all, I want to tell you how much we love John Berkman, your dad. I know he is just shining on you. And what a lucky guy to have John and Buzz as father figures in your life. And so it is a perfect Father's Day. And I'm so glad you're on here to add to that perfection with Buzz and I speaking together. That was fabulous, Danny. Always.
Thank you, Pam. Thanks.
I don't know what's echoing, and let's hope that it goes away. Anyway,
Oh, no,
it is.
that was intentional, but
Okay, thanks.
I still had the effect on, so it wasn't a Zoom thing. We're glad about that.
Oh, yes. Oh, hallelujah. There's an old
Yeah.
song from the 30s. I always say, hallelujah, you're a bum again. That was the name of the song during the Depression. Anyway, it is now my honor to introduce our Buzz Noe along with me in our talk today, which is the legacy of Father's legacy. And Buzz and I have been talking a lot behind the scenes. And so I thought I would come from the higher perspective of what father means as that spiritual father, and also of the father in our lives as well, because the spiritual part of a person that gives life and lives forever is what I consider that father. And that's how I felt about my father. I just want to do a little soliloquy here. My father wasn't my blood father. I was his adopted daughter, along with my sister. We were both adopted before birth, brought home. So all I really knew is my dad, who adopted my father and I. And my father grew up in extremely poor circumstances. He was born in the Depression. His father was a shoemaker whose children in St. Louis, Missouri, cold and snow, had cardboard in their soles of their shoes. And when I came along, he was at what's considered at that point an older dad. I think he was around 44, 45. My adoptive mom was 50. And when he first held my sister and me at birth, he felt something he'd never felt before. A love so overwhelmingly deep that he made a vow in his life to ensure that any child, and especially my sister and myself, would be offered all the good he could supply. And he couldn't wait to give it all to us. And he did not have any of that growing up. And so this really mirrors to me the ideal definition of God, because no matter what earthly father we had, and I loved what Buzz said, is we could have had a good one or a cad, but no matter what earthly father we had, in Science of Mind teaching, that parentage is expressed with all those who live in harmony and truth, because our God is androgynous. It is the mother, father God that symbolizes that heavenly parentage. And so I pass this on to you, Buzz.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. And yes, you brought up an interesting thing, because so much of our past in religion and everything else looks to God as a father. And it makes a gender thing. Now, Lynn always refers to God as her, as a woman. And there certainly is an androgynous quality to God. There's a oneness of God. So whatever we would look at as gender definitions, God's a combination of both, which is what we all are. When you look at humanity, if you're here alive, you have a father and a mother. It's that combination of the genes and the hormones that have created who you are. So as you go through life and you learn more about who you are, you can look back and see what you may have gotten from your father, from your mother, and things like that. And Daniel mentioned it. I certainly got to like their birth father, John, as we grew up together, and was able to bring my influence as a father image into the boys. But knowing that that's where their musical genius comes from, and everything else is their father, John. But as far as my father, he early on, we loved and adored who he was, because he was a developer and a builder growing up back in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And one of the things he did is, as we were young kids, took us all around the country. We visited places, and I learned and loved to travel right away early on in my life. In fact, one of the fun stories I always bring up is that he took us to Yosemite National Valley when I was just 6 years old and had only just learned to read. We drove into Yosemite and I saw the sign and it said Yosemite. I mean, I learned how to read. I could read that. Yosemite was this park. Later on, my mom and dad were talking about how much they liked Yosemite, and I was hearing them and I'm going, well, I don't know about this Yosemite place, but that Yosemite is a place I'm going back to. And I have ever since, after learning it actually is Yosemite. But one of the fun things that I learned, and I've said this about my dad, as a builder and a developer, he could fix anything in our house. All our bikes, the heating system, the plumbing, he was able to fix all that. And what I learned early on in life from that was not so much how to fix everything, but I learned that anything in this world can be fixed. And it put me into that mindset of something's broken, something needs to be repaired. There's a way to do it. I researched it and discovered how the right tools and the right things could be done to fix just about everything. Now, since then, I've seen that some things can be fixed by others more readily than me, and some things might require more time and effort to fix than the reward would be from having them repaired. But boy, that has stayed with me all my life. Hey, if something needs to be fixed, there's a way to do it, and I'm going to work on it. So it's just wonderful to have that resilient aspect of my father to stay with me all my life. So that's where I've been with my dad, and I'm happy to be the father for my daughter. And that's another thing I should mention. As you go through life, you go, hey, well, who am I then? What am I bringing to this world? What am I giving to life and to humanity and to the universe? And one of the things that always comes to mind, if I don't do anything else for anyone else ever, in having been part of the creation of my daughter, Janet, who is the most amazing person that I know in my life, to have been able to bring her into this world, or part of what she brought her into this world, is a gift that I have given to the universe that I can be happy about and proud of no matter what else happens in my life. So that's where I am with fatherhood. Back to you, Reverend Pam.
Oh, thank you. That was wonderful. I love Yosemite. And it is. And I know that's your favorite place. And what else I also know about you is you can fix anything. And I know this because of the center. You fix a lot of things at the center, including our hearts and our minds too, Buzz, and our joy and our laughter. And it is so interesting because my dad couldn't fix anything. He really was so non-mechanical, but he did pour love and money onto everything. And so it made up for some of that. But I didn't even know guys could fix things. So whoever I married was in good shape, because anything they did, including like changing the oil in a car or something, I thought, oh my God, literally, oh my God, they're like this beingness that can do things that I've never seen a man do before. And it is true that a good father also allows us to be who we are, but also he models that higher beingness that we all are. And it is they, as in the Father in heaven, the gifts of the kingdom that come through not only the God that is madly in love with us and has given us truly the gift of unlimited potentiality, but also it is that wonderful experience of allowing that our parents allowed us to see who they were. They were obviously very authentic. My dad was very authentic. And Thomas Edison said, when a man dies, if he can pass enthusiasm along to his children, he has left them an estate of incalculable value. And so a good father may eventually, as I say, have silver in their hair, but a really good father, like the Father, Mother, God, has gold in his heart. And we were both lucky. We had that from fathers who loved us and had that gold in their heart.
Oh, will you give me back to me?
Is that good? You want to go from there? Or do you want me to continue going on here? No, tell me what you have to say about fatherhood, and what are some of the samples and examples that you believe that you have left your children when not only now they're living on their own and they're strong and they're independent, but what is the good that you believe and are proudest of that you left them with, the wisdom?
Well, what I like to have in my mind is that I passed on, as I learned from my dad, that things can be fixed, and how if you just use your logical assessment mindset to look at something to figure out what's broken, you can figure out a way to fix it. And I think they all went away with that idea. And the other thing I hope that I've passed on to the children that are in my lives is this idea of love being the main and major motivation for you going forth. And when I was going through the CSL theme last night, it referenced that same thing. Love should be the main motivation that brings you forth. Whenever I communicate with God through treatment, I always acknowledge the fact that that's my main motivation. And they had this title for this week: What's Evolution Without Love? And that's a good point, because if you go forth creating things in life without love as your main motivation, main inspiration, then you don't know what you're going to be coming up with. Some things could be not helpful to yourself or to humanity. They had this affirmation, which I need to repeat here. They said, "We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, a world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience." And that's what we're talking about this today, your relationship as your with your father, as a father. If it's coming forth with this guidance of spiritual wisdom, then that's going to be a positive impact. And the most amazing thing, I just have to mention this, I had this all in my head last night when I took a shower, and I played some music through my phone while I was doing the shower, like I always do. And up comes this, the first thing was this song from way back in 1967, when I was about to be commissioned as a naval officer. These lyrics, written by Jesse Colin Young, played by the Youngbloods, had a huge impact on me back then, and it has ever since gone forth. And it's so much conforms with the Science of Mind theme for this week that we're talking about. It has this lyric, not all the lyrics, but this one particularly was an impact to me, from Jesse Colin Young. "If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. Listen, you hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people, now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together and try to love one another right now." And that lyric was back in 1967, and this was during the Vietnam War, and I was a political science major, and all through that I realized that had this mindset of brotherhood and loving each other been more in place, there would not have been this conflict in Vietnam that I was scheduled to be part of. And it really was, it's been my kind of driving motivation ever since, through all my life. Love one another and be kind to your brother. And another thing that this weekend celebrated Juneteenth, which is made the law of us to have equality in this nation and allowed us to love one another as brothers, regardless of race, background, or anything else. And it really fits in with what's going on in our lives right now. Back to you, Reverend Pam.
Well, thank you, Buzz. Thank you for also saying back to you, which I did not do for you. Anyway, but you know, you mentioned Vietnam, and that was probably one of the first times I realized that there were so many challenges in life, and all the young men that were around us were going off to war, so to speak, a war that many of us didn't approve of, and yet many of them didn't have a choice to do that. They were drafted. And you made a choice. You were in the Naval Command. And so lucky, I mean, I admire that. No matter, I know you didn't actually have to go end up in Vietnam, but still, that was quite a commitment for you to do that. And so, but when challenges are laid before us, they help build our spiritual muscle. And that's what dads can do also for us. They can offer us those opportunities to find out who we are, because a father's role is neither an anchor to hold us back, nor as I say, a sail to take us to new places, but they could be a guiding light to say, look, you can do this, you have this in this. And you can teach your children that there are those challenges that come up, not only with friends, with life, with corona virus, with all of those things. And those things actually When you don't shield them from those things and you lay it out before them, it helps them and teaches them that they can always triumph over any challenge, whether it's fixing something, fixing their lives, fixing a relationship, fixing who they are down deep inside. When parents and fathers give good advice, that's when we're put on the right paths. But it's always up to a person, given the best and the worst of fatherhood and the challenges and motherhood, of what you do with all that good examples you think you've laid before our children. It's really up to us now at this point in time, and especially at our age, it's up to us to figure out that we are constantly at choice. And yes, we can draw upon the good that was given to us, not only from the heavenly Father, so to speak, the Father that guides us and provides us and lives in and through and as us, but also from the good lessons and the good examples we learned from our parents. And back to you, Buzz.
Oh, thanks, Reverend Pam. And you mentioned something that also is addressed by the Centers for Spiritual Living theme for this thing. You're going to go through life and you're going to experience pain. And certainly we did as kids. But what our dad always did for us was when something came up that brought pain, physical or mental, he would let us see that that was a lesson to learn how to do something better. If we had slipped, we can learn how to walk a little bit more balanced. If we did something wrong that made something fall down, he taught us how we could better control that aspect. And if you are here, then you have a father. So look at those lessons that you may have learned from him and see how they're bringing you forward. And as a father, give those lessons to all of your kids. They're going to experience some aspect of life that's going to bring some pain. Don't look at that as being a curse, but as a lesson for you to learn how to live your life better, get past it, and get back to the joy of life. And boy, that has stayed with me ever since. I hope I've passed that on to our kids. And it's just something that is going to be magnificent for everyone for eternity. Learn from your mistakes, learn from the pain, and know that it's moving you forward. And it will, that blessing, that advancement will be revealed when you take that mindset. So that's the way I hope to keep on going. Back to you.
Thank you. And when you mentioned the pain, my mother and father, I learned after they were both gone, really had a lot of pain before they met one another and decided to adopt us. But all of that pain that they experienced growing up showed up in greater gifts in my life than I ever realized. And again, when you're older, when you know better, you do better, as I say, as they did. But also I realized the gifts that they left us has left a family that continues to grow and love and be concerned with one another, because it wasn't just me that my father and my sister that he adopted. He also, I've told this story before, he was in Hollywood and he made sure that every child that he knew that needed food for lunch or books or anything, he supplied them with that. And not only did he supply them with that, my niece Winnie, my mother and father raised in the beginning. And I am so grateful. Winnie, as I always say, is many things to me. She's my niece. My sister ended up becoming her adopted mother, and so more or less. But she's my niece, my daughter, my friend, and she has been with that same spirit that my mother and father left with us. She's carried that forward. So, and also we realize that they didn't have it easy, my parents. And what they left us is that you can position yourself into being that creating, loving expression of God itself. And in all, not only in you, but through all the family and all your friends and in all of your life, you can feel the hand of God in and through all of the people around you. And you can see that namaste, the God within all that come to you. And Juneteenth, I had not known all the backstory until these last recent years of how it was 2 years after the slaves were freed that many of them didn't even know it until it was in 2 years later in Galveston, Texas, I believe. And so I was lucky. I don't know how or what, but I'm sure there were times as a child I thought, oh, look, someone's Black, they need help, or something. But I've never seen people in color really that much. I've always seen the soul of people, and the soul of everybody that has probably come again back to that father figure that teaches us it's omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent in all of us, and that's the God within us. And that soul that we are is incorruptible, and it's learning how to give birth into that unique beingness that we have come to be, with guiding and being provided by all the lessons that we've had. And I pass this to you, Buzz.
Well, thanks again. And you mentioned something that is another lesson I learned from our father. As like I said, he was a builder, developer. And when we were pretty young, 7, 8 years old, his right-hand man was this Black gentleman named Al Morgan. So we were kids, and Al Morgan was around our property a lot doing things, and always helping us kids to show us how to fix our bikes up and how to put things to the right place and stuff like that. And he became an idol to us as kids. This Black man was just this amazing person that we all respected and loved. And then as I grew older, learned about racism and how there's parts of this country that look down on Black and colored people and things like that. And it was quite a shock to me that you'd be able to be a human in this world and have that kind of mindset, because we never did. So once again, it's just really an appreciation to my father and his acceptance of equality all around that has stayed with me all our lives. And I've hoped to have passed this on. And as you said, not only to my direct child, Janet, but the stepsons, and also to everyone else that I talk to bring that same mindset about, because like we said, as we go forth in our life with our mindset, if it's positioned correctly, that's going to go out and help other people get to that same place. So let's continue to go forward, being a father to everyone with whom we're connected, to help them in that same capacity. And that's about what I have to say for this session.
Oh, Buzzy, thank you. You said something. We had a Black, I don't know how else to say this, a Black maid. And she was our fave, though. She taught us all the old jazz, all the way from the 20s and 30s, Black, all the jazz artists to the 30s and the 40s. And I'll never forget, she would always say to us, be kind to your mother. She looks really old for her age. Well, and I used to think, oh my God, my poor mom looks old for her age. Well, when you're a kid, you don't recognize that your mother is older than all the other mothers. My mother always lied about her age. She was like 15 years older than she ever told us. And I think, oh, my poor mom. And also her name, I can't even remember her name. It wasn't Hattie, but it was, oh, she was amazing. She danced with us and played with us and sang with us. And she introduced us to a whole world of music and beingness that we had not been introduced before. So I believe that she and all of those people in our life positioned themselves in our lives to show us what a loving expression of God itself, by means of all in our lives, gave to all of us here. And I feel like the hand of God in and through my dad and all of the good people in my life has given me that divine spirit of God that continues to call me to reach into that highest place that has always been. And so I just invite everyone to allow that creative birthing that is unique unto you, that was guided and given to you in your challenges and your good as you were growing up, and continue to grow up and grow even deeper and higher into that God self that you are, as you begin to bring more and more richness in this spiritual realm into this human experience. And so it is, Buzz. Thank you so much for being with me and reminiscing and reminding me of other things that just enriched my life so much growing up. Mwah! And now it is, you want to say anything before I move on to Danny? You introduce Danny.
Yeah, I was just
introduce your son, Danny. Okay.
just know in your mindset that you're one with everything that is. And as you are positive about it, everything else will be. And I am positive about what's coming up next, which once again is Daniel Berkman with our musical inspiration.
Thank you, Buzz. That was wonderful. Thank you, Pam. And I just wanted to say I'm grateful for you, Buzz, and grateful for all that you've passed down to us, Jason and I, and Janet, and yeah, it's grateful for you. So happy Father's Day. I'm going to play another request by Buzz. So all the songs I played today were requests by him. This one I wrote when my grandmother died in 1996, and she would often visit me in my dreams. And as a 27-year-old, that was it made a big impression on me. So I wrote this song called "They Come in Dreams." Well, it's interesting. My natural father, John, passed away about 4 years ago. Or was it 5 years ago? And now he visits my dreams. So it's interesting how people in our lives, our loved ones who've passed away, visit us in different ways. In the case of my father, he visits me in my dreams. So this is what once was dedicated to my grandmother, I think also incorporates my my father, John. So this is called "They Come in Dreams." This is also on my Heartstrings album, my first album for Cora.
Wonderful choices from Buzz.
Yeah, thanks, Buzz.
Oh, honey, it's such a joy to be with you. Thank you, Danny. And how are things in San Francisco?
Wonderful. I mean, things are opening up. There's actually a block party on my block every weekend. We've been doing this for about a month now, but now that the city's opened up, it's um, just full of people, and people are in celebration, and it's hot, and yeah, things are good.
In closing, how can we find you on the internet?
So you can find me at danielberkman.com or danielberkman.bandcamp.com. Bandcamp is where all my albums live. And those two places are the best places to find me. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Easy to find. Yeah.
And I know you give lots of concerts, so I want people to find you. That's it.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I just want to thank everybody that was on today. I want to thank Marcia behind the scenes. I want to thank our Buzz, our Lynn, our Danny that was here today. And I just love each and every one of you. And of course, our Ivan Kurolinsky, who is on his way now to Berkeley pretty soon. He's going to join us on the 4th of July, though, in the center, who does our Facebook. So let me say goodbye to everybody. And then I would like Buzz to do our giving opportunities and our offertory.
Thank you again, Rev Pam. And let's close out with our offertory blessing. Please, if you can see this on the screen, say it along with me. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is, and that's the way it is. And once again, we thank you for any donations that you can give to our center to help us stay here, to help you go get by in your life. And we have several ways that you can do it online through PayPal and Zelle. And of course, we still have the old school way. If you would choose to use U.S. mail to send a check, the mailing address, CSL Pleasant Valley, 221 East Valley Drive, Suite number 1 in Camarillo, California, 93010. And our website, www.csl-pleasantvalley.org. And our email, of course, cslpleasantvalley@gmail.com. So all of those ways you can communicate with us. Thank you again for being here. And now to close us out, I once again bring back my darling and lovely wife, Lynn Chaplin-Noe.
Thank you, Buzz. And I just want to say, I hope that my baby Jason Berkman watched this today. This was a nice family affair. We miss Jason so much. All right, everybody, let's just wrap this beautiful service up with a bow and get ourselves ready for a wonderful week. Let's close our eyes. And as I close my eyes, I'm instantly aware of a presence, a loving presence, a presence that's been expressing so perfectly through and by means of everyone on this service today, the music, the prayers, the discussion, What a wonderful expression of God, infinite intelligence, love, life, as each and every one of us, our uniqueness this morning, and the uniqueness of everyone watching, and the uniqueness of everyone on my pathway. I celebrate that. The uniqueness, the Christ within me celebrates the uniqueness in the Christ within you. Namaste, which is what I'll do this week. Make it a point that whenever I see otherness, I know oneness, and I say namaste and celebrate that beauty and that Christ nature in the person in front of me. That's my assignment this week. That's what I'll do. I'll express love and oneness. And I'm so grateful for these wonderful truths of oneness and love and expressiveness and choice of always choosing to be kind and loving and accepting and the Christ consciousness that I am. I release these loving truths into the law of mind. I allow divine mind, love, life, God to take care of the details while I step forth in this wonderful week and enjoy my wonderful, expressive, spiritual experience. And together we say, and so it is. Pammy?
And so, yes, and so it is the real goodbye. Wait, everybody. Thank you for being with us out there in Facebook world and on our program. Mwah! I love each and every one of you. See you next week.
We did it.
Yay.
Yay!
Hey, wow, Danny.
Man,
Wow,
Wow,
guys.
that
fantastic.
was epic.
Thanks.
You know,
Thanks.
you know what? I think we're still on Facebook.
We are. We're still on
That's
Facebook.
great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait,
we're on
1 second. Wait a second.
Well,